Well, ladies and gents, we are back with another part of our Liverpool save. Here we are now in 2021 after yet another sim season with Ancelotti in charge. So let's just dive in and see how we did this season. You can see that really not much has changed. Ancelotti is still in charge after his second year with LFC. Henderson is still captain with Chan as vice. Still using that 4-4-1-1 tactic that worked so well the previous season. So things are really looking about the same for our mighty Reds. So let's just dive into the transfers. This season didn't have many transfers in it, but there is still one big note to tell you. Last video we brought in Max Meyer from Schalke, so unfortunately that part of the save kicked the bucket, and instead Javier Hernandez, Chicharito came in his place for a paltry 10.25 million, raising to 14 from Leverkusen. I honestly have no idea what's been going on with the saves. I really, just to be truthful, I can't wait to get rid of this Liverpool save, move into FM18, and hopefully get all these issues behind us. Anyway, this is another one to be sorry about, so I apologize, but Chicharito is still not a bad pickup. With Sturridge out of the picture, Chicharito is definitely a good pickup to have in front. Unfortunately for him and for Ancelotti and Liverpool, he kind of damaged his cruciate ligament halfway through October and was done. But on the flip side, you can see we did have one huge name join the ranks. Paulo Dybala has come in from Juventus for £30 million, raising to 46.5. Absolutely incredible deal. I mean, this is a dude I was thinking about bringing on before I left during the summer, but luckily Ancelotti can read my mind, and in he comes. And already in his first season, you can see 35 appearances in the Premier Division, 21 goals, 12 assists, 7.88 rating. Wow. 13 appearances, 4 goals, and 5 assists with a 7.76 rating in the Champions League. This dude was on fire. I mean, absolutely, there's no question. If you're ever thinking, should I pick up Paulo Dybala? Definitely. You've got to do it. Emmanuel Mamana also came in from Lyon for a 25.5 million, raising to 34.5. He didn't really make nearly as big of an impact as Dybala did, but who does? But look at that, 15 starts, 12 off the bench, 6.91 average rating, not the greatest, but one that I have actually thought of signing at some point in my own time with Liverpool. I'm kind of glad I didn't, to be honest, right now after seeing some of these stats. But, you know, we didn't see the games. We don't know how exactly he was, so let's just move on. And lastly, a Bulgarian regen named Ivan Iliev from Lokomotiv Sofia for a whopping £275,000, raising to 675k. I'm not understanding that. Why not just pay the whole thing up front? But whatever. I guess you save $400,000 that you might not have had to deal with otherwise. Seems odd, but definitely one for the future, as I guess, you know, he didn't look to have the greatest of times in his first season. 2 appearances in the FA Cup, 6.50 rating. So, whatever, I mean, it's Ancelotti. Who knows what he's got in mind, so. And as for those moving out of the club, we did have a few semi-big names leave the Anfield gates. Divock Origi has finally moved on, all the way to Inter for a good chunk of change at £18.75 million. Kenny Tete left for Tottenham for $9.75 million. I don't know, Tottenham just pick up all of our guys. I guess we pick them all up from Southampton and we just dish them right off to Tottenham later on. Anyway, Karius finally left for Watford for $5.75 million, and Christopher Ayer, never having played a game in Liverpool Red, went to West Brom for £3.2 million. And apparently Wijnaldum went out on loan. I didn't even see that the first time around, to Benfica. That is an interesting one. Let's see. He didn't. Portuguese Prem, 26 appearances, 8 goals. So he actually did well for them. Hopefully it's a buy-on clause. The biggest transfers for this season, funny enough, Divock Origi for 18.75. Ricardo Rodriguez went to Arsenal for 17.75. That's actually a really good deal. Irving Lozano to Tottenham, 16.25. Mitchell Van Bergen to Southampton for 16.25. Who is that? Oh, wow. Okay. And then Granit Xhaka from Arsenal to AS Monaco for 16 million. So I'm going to leave it there. But nowhere near as good as last season. But still, you know, a couple of big names up top. So with all that, let's dive into the competitions. Let's start out with the Premier Division itself. Unfortunately, this time around, Man U was switched out by their counterparts in blue, Man City at the top of the table, with Liverpool tied in second. 88 points apiece, can't really get much closer than that. Unfortunately, goal differential was the key, with City's 52 to Liverpool's 46. Not a way you want to bow out of the title. At least we weren't Man U this time around. Third place for them with 81 points. Arsenal back to their ways of fourth with 78. And Chelsea, fifth place perennials with 65 points. But look at Leicester, back up to the top 10. Good job for them. And Tottenham, just another disappointing season, sitting in 8th. For some reason, they get close the first couple of years, and then I guess management combined with ownership bring them all the way down. 8th place for them, 11, 19, and 8 with 52 points. And we finally see the likes of Stoke, thank God, relegated from the Premier Division, with Reading and Sunderland following suit. And let's look at the Championship. You can see in the Championship that Aston Villa, Swansea, and Wolves all make their triumphant returns to the top flight. So let's go back to the competitions. So we've talked about Premier League, now let's get into the Community Shield. You can see we beat Man City, funny enough, in the Community Shield 3-1 with goals from Emre Can and semi-new boy Tassos Mavridis, the new hot prospect, if you will. And if we go back, EFL Cup. This was a good one for us. The EFL Cup was another great set of matches for LFC. We started out in the third round against Norwich City, crushing their hopes 4-1. Then in the fourth round, we had a squeaker against Fulham 2-1 with Firmino and Dybala giving goals. And then moving on to the quarters, a good 2-0 win over lowly Brentford, pushing us to the semis, where we had another great set of matches against our rivals Man U. It seems we can't get around them. A 1-0 win at Old Trafford, and then a 3-2 win at Anfield saw us into the competition finals against Newcastle, who absolutely crushed Hull 6-2 on aggregate. And in the final, Liverpool in extra time win the EFL Cup trophy 3-1 over Newcastle. Another great game, Ojo Dembele and Ali getting the goals. Grant Huntley, their only one that they can muster. And look, Shelby is still there apparently. So another cup in our trophy case. Next up, we have the FA Cup. Another good run in another cup competition, this time, however, only making it as far as the semis, sadly. Wins against Stoke 2-1 in the third round, then 2-1 over West Ham in the fourth, 3-0 over Leeds in the fifth, and extra time win 3-2 over Southampton in the sixth. Finally, this saw us bow out in the semis, as I mentioned, a 3-2 extra time loss against Watford. Stoke Liverpool, Max Romero gets a double to Shaqiri, who is still at Stoke for some reason. Go figure that. Another away win, Liverpool over West Ham, with Lincoln getting a double this time around. Sigurdsson is moved on to West Ham. That's an interesting change. 3-0 over Leeds. Romero gets another double. Sadio Mane gets his picks up one as well. Picks up the third. Liverpool 3-2 over Southampton. Firmino, Dybala, and Dembele get the 3 Liverpool goals. Andrea Bellotti gets one back for Southampton, along with some dude named Lewis Andrew. I've never heard of him. Bellotti, how has he been doing? He's actually, the FA Cup he did very well. Premier Division, not so much. 16 goals though, I mean, wow, pretty good. The semi-final sees us bow out to Watford. Lincoln gets another, Coutinho gets his second goal, but Troy Deeney, Will Hughes, and Isaac Success all get the win for Watford. And in the final, you can see Man City did win over Watford 2-0. But now the time you've all been waiting for, Champions League. Group D saw Liverpool romp the shit out of the rest of this group. A clean set of 6-0-0 with the most amount of points you could get with 18. Next up, Shakhtar with 9, Lazio with 5, and Basel gets a lowly 2 sad draws. But with that, Liverpool move into the round of 16. Up against Atletico Madrid, we sadly tied 1-1 at Anfield, but came into Madrid winning 1-0 to secure our spot in the quarters. Dembele sent off in 23rd. So we actually went 77 minutes of 10 men on their 11. Wow, I'm shocked at that win. But good on you for that. And here is where we met an old foe in Dortmund in the quarters. Another thrashing at home 4-0, and then went away to Dortmund for a 3-1 victory. Absolutely destroyed them. I hate seeing Dortmund go out like that, but when it's from Liverpool, I can get over it pretty easily. But with that, into the semis we go. And who do we face? None other than Man City. We actually beat them at Anfield 3-1 with goals from Dembele, Paulo Dybala, and Maya, who is still there apparently. They may have pipped us to the Premier League title, but we secured the away win. Even though we lost 1-0 away from home, we still moved into the final against another old foe, Juventus. We crushed them once, and I'm sure we can do it again. And do it to them we did. A 3-0 win at Signal Iduna Park in Dortmund. Isn't that also called Westfall Stadion? Anyway, a 3-0 win over Juventus gave us yet another Champions League title. Winning Europe again, the Prem might not be ours, but the rest of Europe definitely is. We are making it our bitch. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for this season wrap-up. I've got one more in mind to do the next 5 years, and then we just call it a day, and Liverpool is done, at least until FM18 if I decide to pick it up. So with that, thank you all so much for sticking with it. I know this part is a little dry, but it's interesting to me just to see how, when you build up a team, how a new manager comes in and takes over, and how they make it their own. Do they continue your winning ways, or what happens? So anyway, until next time, take care and enjoy.